Burciaga, and I am the Nutrition Grant Manager for the Texas Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs. I am also a proud member of the Rio Grande Valley chapter of the Professional Association for Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and I will be one of your conference facilitators today, along with other amazing members of our South Texas All-Staff Conference Planning Committee. If you're watching the conference in a group setting, maybe at the club, be sure to use the chat box to put your club's name and the names of all those present so that we can send certificates and everyone gets the proper credit for today's sessions. We are so excited that y'all are able to join us today. Our TPA chapter is in its 13th year of hosting this annual all-staff conference. And even though we can't be physically together just yet, it is our hope that this virtual conference will be a great learning opportunity, especially as many of us prepare to safely open our doors for kids this summer, and to bring us as professionals in the movement closer than ever before. With the conference being virtual this year, we're able to expand our reach and are thrilled that some of our fellow club professionals from all over the state of Texas, and even a few from out of state, were able to join us today. Just a reminder of a few items. Please be sure that you are on mute throughout the presentations to avoid any background noise and distractions. We ask that you keep your camera off during the sessions, unless during the breakout rooms or at the speaker's request. Also, please be sure that you rename your Zoom participant name to your first and last name, or if you're in a group setting, to your club or site name. Throughout the presentations, please feel free to ask questions as they may arise by using the chat box. They will be monitored throughout the presentations by a conference committee member, and our presenters will have a chance to answer them accordingly. Today's agenda sessions include de-escalating concerning behavior, building blocks of programming, and club and child safety. Also, when we typically host this conference in person, we host a social gathering to build our camaraderie and networking opportunities. This year, our social luau will also be virtual and will be after today's sessions at 5 to 6 p.m. It will include the amazing DJ Nemesis, fun games, and of course, some really awesome prizes. So be sure to join us for your chance to win some awesome goodies and participate in some of the virtual challenges. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the TPA-RGV chapter, second vice president and conference co-host, Rocio Mata.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 13th annual South Texas All-Staff Conference. So never could we have imagined we would be hosting our second virtual conference, but here we are. Although it's true we are living in scary and uncertain times, not all is lost. This year may look a little different, but it is filled with the opportunity for impactful learning, networking, and of course, some fun. So the Conference Planning Committee has worked hard to plan a training experience that is not only informative, but relevant to the times. In addition, we have a few special events and surprises along the way. This includes daily raffles, a virtual luau, and the presentation of the 2021 TPA Recognition Awards. So we encourage you to take advantage of this training. Take back some ideas, resources, and best practices that will make your organization better equipped to impact the youth in your community. Now more than ever, children and teens are looking for hope and stability. And now more than ever, kids need their Boys and Girls Club. And now more than ever, they need you. So sit back and enjoy your sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rocio. Now I'd like to introduce our first presenter today. Paula Lightfoot is the Program Talent Coordinator for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Sherman in the North Texas area. She joined the management team in April of 2020. Prior to joining the Boys and Girls Clubs of Sherman leadership, Paula taught Zumba and other fitness classes to club kids. Having spent more than 14 years in the health and wellness field, Paula continues to spread inspiration, confidence, and positivity to our team, kids, and the community. Paula loves to help others, so keep an eye out for her, not only at her Boys and Girls Club, but also at the gym or online, where she continues to brighten people's days and make a difference in their lives. Join me in welcoming Miss Paula Lightfoot.
Oh. Hi, good morning. Can everybody hear me? All right, so today we are going to be talking about de-escalating concerning behavior. Look at this. All right. Here's my chart. All right, hello. All right, so just a little bit about me. Thank you so much for such a wonderful welcome. As she said, I have been teaching health and wellness for over 14 years. It was definitely my gateway drug into not only the Boys and Girls Club movement, but the health and wellness lifestyle, which is dance fitness. You can find me online with my Give Her Confidence is what I do when I'm not working at the club and spreading confidence to the kids. Specifically, my favorite groups are the girls. All right, so we're gonna set a couple of ground rules for today. Give me just a moment. All right. All right, so the purpose of this session is to provide youth development professionals with the steps to respond to an individual youth's concerning behavior in a way that lessens the intensity of a situation and helps youth access coping skills. Today, you will be able, after today's lesson, you'll be able to describe behavior as an expression of a social and emotional need, identify and apply the 6 steps to de-escalating behavior, and develop an implementation plan for the steps in de-escalating concerning behavior. Without a plan, we have already failed, correct? You're like, yes, Paula. All right. As you are all aware, safety remains the #1 priority for the Boys and Girls Club movement. To do that, we must move safety from a priority to a value and instill a strong culture of safety throughout the Boys and Girls Club movement. Not only is a strong culture of safety an integral component of a positive club experience, it is also key to our mission and continued success. In a culture of safety, employees who speak up about the unsafe behavior or unsafe practices are protected by what is called the whistleblower protection policy. In short, if you're telling on something that is concerning to you or that you see as a problem, you're not going to be retaliated against because you have that whistleblower protection. So a lot of times we have people who are like, I don't want to tell because I don't want to deal with, getting in trouble or someone being mean to me, or, adults can be bullies too. With the whistleblower protection policy, that is not an issue. All right, so as Boys and Girls Club professionals, we are all required to do mandated reporting. You're like, Paula, what is mandated reporting? So glad you asked. It's our legal requirement that indicates that certain individuals must report suspected child abuse or maltreatment to an appropriate agency or person. So in the chat, let me know who is a mandated reporting. Me, exactly. We all are, and the chat is going alive. That is correct. In many cases of abuse, someone notices something suspicious or inappropriate, but doesn't know what to do. Now you can use Presidium's helpline to ask an expert how to respond. Call the authorities, interview the kids involved, watch for other signs. A Presidium expert will promptly gather information and alert you to the situation and provide consultation on how to respond. You can use the ethics hotline to report concerns related to unethical business practices, fraud, policy violations, conflicts of interest, theft, bribery, discrimination, harassment, and other violations of laws or regulations. All right, so we're going to do a community builder. And if you're like, Paula, what is a community builder? A community builder is an activity such as an icebreaker or team building exercise that builds trust and supportive relationships among youth and staff through a fun and active engagement. A community builder is one of the elements of a high quality session at a Boys and Girls Club. There are different types of community builders, such as name games, team builders, collaborations, and more. When groups are not familiar with one another, you'll want to use name games. One of my personal favorites, it works across all ages, whether you have the little ones or the older ones, is we're going on a picnic. And to the picnic, they bring preferably a food item that starts with the first letter of their first name. If you've done this a couple of times, or maybe most of the kids know the first names, you can always do last names to make it a little more interesting. I think my favorite thing that I've had brought to my picnic was we had a zebra, because we had a Z kid. I actually think his name was Zayden. And then I also had a lionfish, because we had lemons and limes and they couldn't think of anything else. And they're like, can I bring a lionfish? And I was like, sure. Are we gonna eat it? And they were like, ha, no, Miss Paula, you're so funny. I'm like, but it's a picnic, so why would you bring something we don't eat? But anyways, it's a really great way to remember their names. In fact, some of the kids, when I look at them, I will remember what they brought first, and then I remember, oh yes, Evan, you brought eggs. And they're like, yes, Miss Paula, I brought eggs. So that's just one of my personal favorites. In the chat, if you have a personal favorite community builder, drop it in the chat, because that's one of the reasons we're all here. It's not only learn from me, but to learn from each other. And we're all in the field. We have different things that we have found that works. Community builders also provide an opportunity for you to meet each other to create a positive learning environment. So today's community builder that we're gonna do is called Last Word. One person in your group will be going to breakout groups. One person in your breakout group will say, for example, it is such a lovely day. The next person in the group will start with the last word of the sentence. So day. Day one of vacation is always so exhausting. And you'll go around like that till each person has had a chance to complete 2 rounds. You do not have to have the sentences make sense, and there is not a specific order. All I'm asking is that each person goes twice, preferably not back to back, but each person goes twice, and we will be putting you into your breakout rooms now, and in 5 minutes, you will be brought back to the main room. Have fun, meet new friends.
All right, the breakout rooms are going. Everyone should be moving. Paula and Valerie, I didn't put you in one.
Perfect.
All right, and I did groups of 4.
Okay.
Because we have few people. I can add.
Sounds good.
There's randomly one room of 7, and I don't know why. Oh. Zoom. Another 30 seconds as everybody comes back. Hello, everybody. Another 10 seconds and I'll have everybody back and we can keep going with the content. All right, I think everyone should be back now. Back to you, Paula.
All right, so welcome back, my newfound friends. Thank you in advance to those of you that have your cameras on and I can see your smiles and your reactions to my corny jokes. That is the only warning that you'll get, that I will be known for my corny jokes today. So if this is your first time doing Zoom, it shouldn't be after the year that we've had. Make sure that maybe you push yourself out of your comfort zone for just a few minutes, just so I can see your faces and see a smile or see the laugh or the head shakes at, again, my corny jokes. They're my favorite. All right, so some other examples of community builders can be found on the YD Toolbox app. In the chat, let me know who has already downloaded and uses the YD Toolbox app, or if you have your camera on, you can totally give me hands raised because I have it set so I can see all your lovely faces, so I'm not just talking to myself. Awesome. If you're like, Paula, what is the YD Toolbox app? It is amazing. It is a free app that is available on Apple and Android, Team Droid right here, that you can download and install, and you can search community builders. You can search them by the type. So if you're needing name games, if you're wanting collaborations, if you're needing a certain age group, a certain size of group, it's really customizable. It's a great tool to have. I highly recommend that you download it. You can also, if you're like, I don't use apps and stuff on my phone, then you can also use ydtoolbox.goodbarber.com. That's www.ydtoolbox.goodbarber, like cut your hair barber.com. All right, so to gain the most from today's experience, you want to make sure you are actively engaged. You want to check your tech. We should all be muted, but in case you need to unmute yourself because maybe I asked you to, the unmute button, make sure you know where it's at. You want to make sure you're in the best location possible, away from distractions like TV, other people's music, or maybe your kids. If we hear someone else's background music, we will respectfully ask you to mute. Be kind online. Remember, it's hard to know the tone of what someone has said or typed when you're not all in the same place. So be mindful with your words, be patient. We are all learning. Actively engage. Use the chat box to ask questions or respond to things that I've said. Participate actively when we break up into smaller groups, and speak up when I ask you for input. Pretty please. All right, so let's transition to our opening activity. The purpose of our opening activity is to identify aggressive behavior and de-escalation techniques. We're also going to learn how to identify these dynamics so it will help us become more effective in an actual challenging situation. So I want you to think of a time when you felt agitated or aggressive, or when you saw someone else acting agitated or aggressive. What were the body signs that you or that they were giving? You can drop those in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself. Not everybody speak at once. Just a couple of people, and share those responses. Raise shoulders, yes. Tense up, poor body language. Leg shaking, that's a good one. Mad face. Apparently I have one of those. It's like the serious face with the kids. They're like, oh, we knew you weren't serious, Miss Paula. You didn't have your serious eyes. I was like, my serious eyes? Can you show me? They're like, yeah, it looks like this. And I was like, huh, okay. Upset face, eyes bugged, voice raised, walk off. How about standing like this? Yeah, that's an immediate close. Like, I don't want to listen and I'm already mad. Walk away, walk off. Very good. So how was the person standing? Were they standing relaxed? Were they standing kind of like they're ready to fight? I think I had a little kid the other day that got mad and she looked like the Hulk. She was like, oh, like that. It's pretty funny. So some other things: clenched fists, frowning, grimacing, hands on hips, crying. Maybe they're expressionless. Maybe they're dropping some naughty words, yelling. Think of a time when you witnessed the body language that suggested a willingness to de-escalate the situation. Yes, sorry, I lost my spot. As we've said, the person may have been standing, making themselves larger than they are, hands on hips, spread out. Maybe they were making themselves smaller because they didn't want to get in trouble. Those are all different signs that we need to be aware of when we're approaching a situation. So we're actually going to watch a short movie clip that shows aggressive behavior and de-escalation techniques. I want you to pay great attention to this clip from one of my favorite movies, Beauty and the Beast. If any participants have seen the movie and, oh, hold on. All right. Okay, so if anybody has, thanks, sorry, Rachel. If anybody has not seen the movie, just a quick summary. There's a witch. She casts a spell on this young prince to turn him into a beast until he learns to love and, most importantly, be loved in return. One day, a man stumbles onto the grounds of his castle, so the beast imprisons him. His daughter, Belle, offers to stay at the castle forever in exchange for her father's release. What a good daughter. While watching the movie clip, I want you to try to identify examples of aggressive behavior and de-escalation techniques. What body language do you notice in the characters? In the following movie clip, the beast is waiting for Belle to join him for dinner. So now we will go ahead and start that movie clip.
Here she is. Good evening. Well, where is she? The girl. Yes, the girl. Well, actually, she's in the process of circumstances being what they are. She's not coming.
What?
Your Grace! Your Eminence!
I thought I told you to come down to dinner.
I'm not hungry.
You'll come out or I'll break down the door.
Master, I could be wrong, but that may not be the best way to win the girl's affections. Please, attempt to be a gentleman.
But she is being so difficult.
Gently, gently.
Will you come down to dinner?
No.
Suave, genteel.
It would give me great pleasure if you would join me for dinner. Please.
No, thank you.
You can't stay in there forever.
Yes, I can.
Fine. Then go ahead and starve. If she doesn't eat with me, then she doesn't eat at all.
Oh dear, that didn't go very well at all, did it?
I think one of the neatest things about that clip is I've watched that movie, I couldn't even tell you how many times, but I never looked at the fact that that was a great example of de-escalation techniques and the failure of trying to do them. All right, so what de-escalation techniques did you see? Feel free to unmute yourself or you can drop it in the chat, either one. But what de-escalation techniques did you see?
I saw them trying to talk him down, encourage him to do better, redirection.
Awesome, very good. In the chat, we see speak calmly, giving advice, a calm voice. They were doing their best to get him to talk gently and use manners. Awesome, those are all great answers. So we're actually gonna divide you guys into smaller groups again. You'll be in this next group for 7 minutes. In this group, I want you to talk about how you would have felt if you were in Belle's position, if you were in the beast position. How can behaviors and body language help to de-escalate or escalate a situation? Also, how can you apply this information to be more effective when faced with a challenging situation? you will be, oh, actually this breakout group is 5 minutes, sorry. You'll be in this breakout group for 5 minutes. Again, talk, communicate within your group. When we come back to the big group, I'm gonna ask for just a couple of volunteers to kind of summarize what you guys talked about. And second breakout group is up. Five.
Yeah, okay. Breakouts will be coming back like on their way in about 30 seconds, 20 seconds. As we get everybody back. Okay, I think we should have everyone back.
All right, welcome back. So we're gonna take a short corny joke break. What did the right lung say to the left lung? You can drop it in the chat or unmute yourself. Anna, I see the answer on your face. She's like, no, you can't.
I don't know it. I was gonna Google it.
Well, the answer, feel free to use this one with your kids. We belong together. There you go. I'll be here all day. Okay, just till 11. Corny joke for the day. You like jazz? I do like jazz. All right, so the activity that we just did, anybody want to share one of your takeaways from your group? Feel free to drop it in the chat or you can unmute yourself.
So, hi.
Hi, Alba.
So on ours, it was just like, no matter the situation, you need to stay calm. It doesn't matter if you're talking to children, to staff, to your supervisors, just staying calm will help the overall result of the situation.
Awesome, and I definitely agree. My mom used to tell me, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, Paula. And then once I got older, I changed that. I was like, yeah, but you can catch flies with other things too. Just saying. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and transition to our central ideas and practice so that we can go to our first central idea, which is youth behavior communicates their social and emotional needs. Behavior. What do you guys think of when I say behavior? Drop it in the chat or unmute yourself, either one. Bad, okay. Not good. Attitudes, good. Acting up, the way someone acts, those are all great answers. So simply stated, behavior is our observable actions. We all behave. Examples could be our walking, our talking, our smiling, our lack of smiling. Behavior can also be a form of communication. Both youth and adults use their actions to communicate the way they think, feel, and experience the club environment, both positively and negatively. What are some examples of how you can communicate your behavior? What are some examples of how you can communicate your behavior? Body language, consequences, eyes, how you speak, how you stand, your eye contact, yes. Tone is so key, voice, stance. I think one of the things that I learned when I first started working with the movement is, when you're talking to adults, sometimes you say things that are sarcastic. Well, you say those things to kids and they're like, what? And then you catch yourself and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But sometimes they frustrate you and yeah. So facial expressions, tone of voice, awesome. Those are all great answers. Concerning or challenging behavior is an action or actions that indicate a youth is having a difficult time. Behavior becomes concerning when it interferes with relationships and participation. All concerning behavior is triggered by something and reflects how a person is coping with that situation. Concerning or challenging behavior is not just breaking a simple rule, such as running in the game room or speaking too loudly. So if concerning behavior is not just those things, what are some examples of concerning or challenging behavior? Again, you're invited to unmute yourself or type your response in the chat. Yelling, yes. Some of you guys are super quick typers. Fighting, not listening, pushing, lashing out, frustration. Yes, yelling, picking on others. Those are all great answers. As a youth development professional, your job is to learn what a youth is telling you through their concerning behavior and to support the youth through these tough times. As we talk about concerning behavior, keep in mind that there is a distinction between concerning and unsafe. Unsafe behavior puts the youth, the staff, or other youth at risk for immediate harm, such as running out of the building onto a busy street, throwing a chair towards a peer, a physical altercation, or something to harm themselves, such as, banging their head into a wall. It is critical that you know and follow your organization's safety policies for responding to unsafe behavior. Concerning behavior can sometimes escalate to unsafe behavior. By using de-escalation techniques presented today, you can try to prevent such escalation. So I'd like for you to type into the chat any words or thoughts that you associate with the term de-escalation. Any words or thoughts that you associate with de-escalation? Cooling off, bring it down, calm, breathing, calming down, good. One of my favorites when the weather is nice is to take the kids for a walk. I've had several, and that's how we kind of diffuse their bomb, is be like, let's go walk. And we walk our parking lot. If we have a gym available, we'll walk the gym just to help pull them from the situation to try to help them bring it down. Diffuse. At my club, we also have a reset room, which is a room that they can go to where there's lights and like calm lights and birds and whistles and other things to help them calm down, essential oils, just a chance to pull them from their situation. Take a deep breath, painting, arts, those are all great answers. De-escalation is a way to constructively and compassionately respond to youth who are experiencing intense situations and emotions. When a youth's behavior escalates, it usually means emotions are taking over and signals that youth need support. When a youth's emotions are escalated, the youth doesn't think through his or her actions. It's like their brain has turned off. As a side note, when I was a kid, my mom used to say, I don't know, well, maybe it wasn't my mom. She might have got it from a TV show, but she's like, obviously your brain has drifted from your head to somewhere else. So I need to hit it back up to where it's supposed to go. Some of you might resonate with that because your mom's told you the same thing. Didn't happen to me very often, but it did happen. So de-escalation is a process in which you as the staff help to turn the brain switch back on so the youth can think and be present again. I want you to think of a recent interaction with a youth who is exhibiting concerning behavior. What was the need or emotion the youth was trying to express? What did you do? Good. What was the need or emotion the youth was trying to express? What did you do that worked in that situation? What could you do differently next time? 2 or 3 people, feel free to unmute yourself, or as you guys know, drop it in the chat. Again, we're thinking of a recent interaction with a youth who is exhibiting concerning behavior. While you guys are thinking, I will share one that we just recently had in our club. We had one of our boys that's usually pretty outgoing, was just staring like blankly out our game room window. He was just staring. And so one of our staff goes over to him and is like, hey, you know, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? And he was like, I'm just sad. She's like, well, why are you sad? He's like, my teacher took my bouncy ball and wouldn't give it back. So he wasn't participating from something at school. And she's like, well, you know, maybe tomorrow you go back to school, you apologize to your teacher for having, you know, the bouncy ball, and then ask for it back at the end of the day and let her know that you won't bring it back. And his whole attitude, just from that small interaction, her helping him think up a solution to his problem of the taken bouncy ball, he was able to rejoin the rest of the kids and participate. So something super simple, but he was seen, he felt heard, and in that instance, he knew that we valued him. We didn't just let him stare out the window. So we have some drops in the chat now. Anger, used cuss words loudly. We made her a helper. That's a great idea. Jennifer said, do not raise my voice and ask if there's something I can do to make it better. America, sometimes kids get sad when they lose a game. We can always encourage them to keep trying. Those are all great answers. So the focus of this training is de-escalation in the moment. De-escalation does not involve giving consequences or punishment in response to youth behavior. Instead, it's about helping a youth calm down from an intense situation. If youth are using unsafe behavior, respond using your organization's safety policies. The purpose, again, of de-escalation is to bring the youth's thinking brain back online. It's like restarting a computer, so they can reflect on what is happening and think through solutions. The following staff practices are important to address challenging behavior. The remainder of our session will focus on ways to de-escalate concerning behavior. So real quick, we got a joke break. What do you call a bear with no teeth? I see some brains.
Gummy bear.
Gummy bear, yes! You guys heard that one. I love that one. They still make me laugh. I saved my best one for the end though. All right, so using what you know about developmental milestones can help you decide how to respond to youth behavior. As we've discussed, concerning behavior indicates a youth is trying to cope with a difficult situation. Coping skills vary by age and each person's unique development. These milestones can give you ideas about what to expect from youth based on their age. Keep in mind that each person is unique, so development doesn't always follow the same trajectory for each youth. For example, 6-year-olds are learning how to describe their thoughts and feelings. De-escalation is your tool for lessening the intensity of the situation. It's also your tool to connect with the youth. The steps for de-escalating concerning behavior are, number 1, approach calmly. As we saw in our video, he started out pretty calm. Number 2, you want to describe what you see. Number 3, read the situation. Number 4, listen for and acknowledge their feelings. 5, give concrete choices. And number 6, allow time and offer support. We'll go through these steps in detail a little bit later on in the training. All right, so some skills to support de-escalating behavior. There are several skills you need to develop or enhance to successfully navigate de-escalating challenging behavior. Before focusing on these steps, we're going to focus on the skills you need to use these steps. The following staff practices are important skills that support de-escalating concerning behavior. Pay attention to your physical space. Remain about 1.5 to 3 feet away from youth. You want to pay attention to your body language as much as possible. Use an open posture and keep a neutral expression. Sometimes this is the hardest thing because maybe it's a child that classically is getting in trouble at your club and you immediately have the, you know, that I'm over here talking to you again. I just told you yesterday. That definitely doesn't help to de-escalate the situation. You want to use a neutral tone of voice when speaking. Be objective by stating only the facts without attaching judgment. Prepare calming statements ahead of time to use in different situations. So a couple of different types of calming statements are encouraging statements. Provide a little pep talk to the youth. You are empowering them to have a positive outlook and cope with difficulty. Think about our youth, if they were an adult and they haven't learned to cope, they haven't learned to kind of help de-escalate themselves, we're gonna have these little firecracker people running around, and that's who's gonna be driving with us, and they're the ones that'll be cutting us off on the highway or cutting us off in the grocery store. I hate that, by the way. But teaching them these skills now at an early age, it's something that they can carry with them through the rest of their lives. You want to, an example of an encouraging statement is, you can handle this. In the chat, I would love to see what are some encouraging statements that either you have said or just popped in your head. Again, caring is sharing unless you have germs, and then keep them to yourself. So drop your encouraging statements in the chat. Factual statements, communicate your role as a supportive adult. An example of a factual statement is, I am here to help. I actually recently said this a couple of days ago to one of my little girls who had slapped someone, and I was trying to de-escalate her. You know, I got down where I was a little more on her level because I'm kind of tall. She's definitely not tall. And as I'm talking to her, she was like, nobody wants to help me. And I said, really? I said, so everybody here, including me, nobody wants to help you? Nobody's talking to you? And then she's like, well, no, that's not what I meant. And I said, but that's what you said. She was like, I'm just so frustrated. And I was like, well, I'm here, I'm trying to talk to you. I said, I haven't yelled at you. I said, you've yelled at me, but I haven't yelled, I haven't raised my voice, trying to bring her down. And I could kind of see her like a little balloon slowly start to deflate from this. So in the chat, you can also drop some factual statements that you may say. And then the last example of an calming statement is an empathetic statement. Come from your heart and show the youth that you understand their perspective. An example is, I see this as difficult. I can tell you're having a bad day. Again, in the chat, feel free to share some other empathetic statements. If maybe you're thinking of some and you want to drop them in the chat later, that's awesome too. Sometimes a calming statement is not enough. So consider using some other coping strategies to help youth calm down, such as counting backward from 10, taking a quiet moment. One of my favorite super quick meditation things is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the 5, you find 5 things that you can see. So wherever you're at with the child, this works for adults too. You look and you find 5 things. And you'd be like, okay, like right now I can see my coffee pot. I can see my husband. I can see my refrigerator. I can see my exercise ball. I can see my water cup. Then you go with 4 things that you can hear. 4 things you can hear. And you sit there, and if you're kind of catching this, it's allowing you to pull yourself from what moment you're in, and you're focusing on something outside of yourself. And it naturally helps bring your heart rate down. It helps to calm you because you're not focusing on whatever the problem was. You're focusing on something outside of yourself. So 4 is something you hear. 3 is something that you can taste. I think I might have that one wrong. I'll have to look at that, our next breakout group, and I'll put it in the chat for you guys. But it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. And it's just another way to help to de-escalate your children or yourself. I mean, it works great, especially when I've been driving and somebody cuts me off and it makes me really mad. And I'm like, whoo, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 it, girl. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I don't do anything that's crazy because there are people probably crazier than me. All right, so calming statements. The purpose of this exercise is to practice writing them. See, I was prepping you. I was asking you to put them in the chat and you're like, I don't want to put them in the chat. Now you got to write them down. All right, so you want to turn to the calming statements worksheet in your participant guide. If you're like, Paula, I don't print nothing. I just use a paper and notebook. That's what I do. You can write this on your piece of paper, wherever you're taking notes. You're going to create calming statements for the situations that are in your guide. You got 2 minutes. We're not going to breakout rooms. You just have 2 minutes to write down some calming statements. Remember, the types of calming statements are encouraging, factual, or empathetic. We got 2 minutes. Oh, that's a great one. All right, we got about 60 seconds. And again, if you haven't already typed them into the chat and you have a great one, you can type them in the chat. I've already picked out a couple to share with you guys. All right. So some of the ones that have been dropped in the chat for the child that is crying on day 1. I've been here more than 20 years and I love this place. I promise you're going to have fun and like it like me. I'm going to check on you at the end of the day. That's awesome. We have, I believe in you. I understand why you are mad. Take some time to relax and compose yourself. Give yourself a break and calm yourself, then come back and we can talk. I love that one too. You're gonna love this place. You're going to make friends here. I've seen you help others, so I can help you. How was your day? Sometimes they are mad at other things and just reacting to a current situation. Definitely. Those are all great. Thank you guys so much for your participation and sharing your calming statements. All right. So now we're going back to our steps to de-escalating concerning behavior, but not without another corny joke break. I know you're waiting for it. All right. So what kind of pants does Super Mario wear? What kind of pants does Super Mario wear? Super cool pants. Overalls. Not quite the answer. Those are factual statements though. Here it is. Denim, denim, denim. Denim, denim, denim. Yes. I got a laughing emoji. I can see somebody's eyes laughing. It's one of my favorites. If you're super young and not aware of who Super Mario is, you should go Google Super Mario theme and then you'll really think my joke was funny. All right, so back to our thing. So our 6 steps for de-escalating concerning behavior, approaching calmly. You want to start the reframing process by modeling calm behavior as you want your youth to. Keep an open mind and approach the conflicts calmly and factually. How you approach a situation can determine if behavior continues to escalate or begins to de-escalate. If you're ever concerned about this, remember our scene from Beauty and the Beast. Describe what you see. Point out the youth's actions and body language using a neutral tone. Read the situation. Look closely at the youth's body language and breathing to determine whether they are ready to talk. Listen to and acknowledge the youth's feelings. Facts are important, but how a youth feels is really the heart of the matter. I don't know if you remember when you were, I don't know, maybe a young adolescent, maybe a teen, and you just had the absolute worst day and the whole world was falling down around you because your best friend quit talking to you and everybody else is now your enemy because this one thing happened way early in the day. Or maybe your mom yelled at you. Your mom was running late and she spilled her coffee. You didn't feed the dog. She yells at you early in the morning. She's probably forgotten about it, but you're still holding on to that and it progresses with you throughout the day. So nobody at school stopped to talk to you about it. They didn't acknowledge that they saw you were a little off from normal. You finally make it to your local club and you come in and let's say Anna sees me and she's like, Paula, you're not smiling your normal way today. Are you okay? Do you not know I feel seen as a little kid who's had my whole day messed up because of something that happened early that morning? That's the power of being present and noticing our kids and acknowledging their feelings. Offering concrete choices, providing some acceptable alternatives to give the youth an opportunity to fully calm down. For many youth, even if they appear calm, they're still not ready to logically think through solving the problem. It's important not to rush to redirection and allow time and offer support for the youth to decide which of the two choices is going to work for them. The choice gives youth an opportunity to feel empowered and have some control over a situation, which is so important when you've been feeling maybe out of control. Maybe it's been all day, maybe it was just a moment, and you get the choice to make something. It could be super simple, be like, you can choose to go to the game room or you can choose to go to the art room. I'm not letting you choose to sit in the hallway, but you have a choice. And as a kid, oh, okay, what I think value is a value to you. That's so important. So what I want you to keep in mind when you're using these steps, I'm going to give you 1 minute to write in your participant guide or write into your notes what you want to remind yourself to keep in mind when using these 6 steps that we just talked about. Feel free to unmute yourself and share, or you can drop them into the chat. You got just a minute. Oh, that's so sweet. I agree. I definitely agree. In case you're not reading the chat, we have a person that said, personally, an unexpected hug from a child usually can melt all my troubles away. Yeah, they're the sweetest. All right, so the following staff practices are important for giving concrete choices and allowing time for youth to recover. 1, reflect on how you may react to certain concerning behaviors and develop coping strategies to deal with those behaviors, such as taking a deep breath before you react. Be aware of cultural considerations and how physical space and body language could be interpreted. Recognize when youth would benefit from a one-to-one conversation. Having a one-on-one conversation might be difficult depending on your environment. It's also helpful to set up chill zones throughout the club or program space to allow staff to support youth in the de-escalation process while maintaining ratios and safety. Like I mentioned, we have what we call our reset room, and that's really what it's for, is to send kids that, need a pull away from the moment. Prepare different calming statements ahead of time to use in different situations. You want to focus on helping youth identify their feelings. You empower the youth to label their own feelings. Decide as a staff team on acceptable alternatives that follow your organization's safety policies. Pause and remain calm so youth can think through the choices, and then be flexible once the youth does make a choice. So implementing which of these staff practices consistently would make the biggest difference at your club? 1 to 2 of you, 1 of you, we'll go for 1. Can unmute yourself and share which of these staff practices practiced consistently would be of most benefit at your club, or if you're super vocal shy, drop it in the chat. All right. Moving right along. So now we're going to practicing steps for de-escalating challenging behavior. The purpose of this exercise is to explore staff practices for the remaining steps of de-escalating concerning behavior. Turn to De-escalate the behavior worksheet in your participant guide. We will be dividing you into small breakout groups. Each breakout group will discuss and work through a different scenario. The number of your breakout room corresponds to your assigned prompt. So for example, if I'm in breakout room 1, then I'm going to be working on scenario 1 and so forth and so on. There's only 3 scenarios. I want you to select a spokesperson from your group to share back to the larger group. You can either share back by turning, so we can hear you, or you can go ahead and type it in the chat and then I will read it for you. You want to discuss the 6 steps to de-escalate concerning challenging behavior as it relates to your scenario. Then you also want to write your response in your participant guide or wherever you're taking notes. You will be in these breakout groups for 10 minutes. All right, and then your all of the information is dropped into the chat. Your spokesperson, you have about 60 to 90 seconds to summarize or share the key things that came up in your group. Okay, ready? And breakout groups, go.
All right, everybody should be moving. People are starting to come back. Another 15 seconds. All right, we should have everyone back.
Awesome. Welcome back. So excited you guys all made it back for the rest of our training. As with each welcome back, you have a fabulous corny joke for me. So to this next one, why was the Easter Bunny so upset? Why was the Easter Bunny so upset? No takers? Because he lost all his eggs, he lost his marbles. Those are good answers, but unfortunately, he was so upset because he was having a bad hair day. I'll be here till 11. Feel free to use these, share them. Corny jokes are, they're the best thing ever. All right, so now I would like to have volunteers. We already knew this was gonna happen. So you can share what you and your group discussed for the scenario and how you're going to use the 6 steps for de-escalation with whichever scenario you had. Can you hear me? Oh, no, kind of. Hold on. All right, Normalinda? Yes. All right, Normalinda, go for it.
I was a group of 1, and I had scenario 3, where a child gets into a fight with he gets angry at another child, calls them an inappropriate name, slams the door out of the room. So, since I will be teaching this summer, I asked the students to continue with the assignment or get a book to read while I follow the child out, look for a sub to come, since we're not supposed to leave the children unattended. Then I go look for the child that was mad. and acknowledge the feelings and say, I understand that you are mad. We all get mad. I get mad. But it wasn't right to call him an inappropriate name. How would you feel if the situation was reversed? I think he'd understand and say, okay, I get it. So when it comes down to, can we walk back to the class? I really want to finish, it's really interesting today or whatever, and say, can I have you apologize to so-and-so? Because I want you all to still be friends.
Okay, good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Next. Oh, I got scenario 2. We talked about calming them down and talked with them about why they are frustrated or upset. We let them know that we are there to help them understand the material and that they aren't alone and we are always there for them. Very nice. Thank you, Brittany. All right, so we've had scenario 3 and scenario 2. We need at least someone to do scenario 1.
Okay, I'll take scenario 1.
Way to go, Marmelinda.
A child comes into the club already upset. They're rude to everyone who tries to talk to them and refuses to participate in any of the activities. You can try to talk to them and find out what's wrong, but if they're not going to talk to you within a certain time and you have to get away, at our club, we do have social workers who can talk to this child one-on-one in the library, which is now her space. It's quiet. I think that all of this would help the child.
That's awesome. Good job. Good job. We had another one in the chat. We had scenario 2 in which the student was doing their homework and erased so hard that they tore the paper. We agreed we could help them to try and do it over. Perfect. So those are all great. If you're still typing because you're sharing, because remember, if we were all together in the same space, we would have been chit-chatting with we would be able to share insight. Since we are in a virtual space, we have to make it work so we still get the information, the knowledge, and the connection that we would have had we all been together. So hopefully next year we'll all be able to be together, give you fist bump. You can hear my corny jokes live and in person. They're so much better. All right. So, oh no. Hold on just a second. A little technical difficulty here. My thing just disappeared. Oh no. All right. So while I re-pull up my cheat sheet, I did get the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method for you guys. I typed that out. And give me just a moment. I do apologize. I'm not sure what I hit to get rid of my thing. Okay. In Houston, she's back. All right. So now we're going to do an activity to apply what we've practiced so far. We are transitioning to implementation, because what good is it if we make this brilliant plan and then we don't have a way, we haven't prepared or planned to implement it. It's kind of like if we decided we were gonna make a cake and we go and we're like, yep, I'm gonna make a cake. I went to the store, I got the stuff to make the cake, but I don't have a recipe to follow to make the cake. How great is that cake gonna taste? I mean, unless you're just amazing at making cakes freehand, I'm not, it's probably not gonna come out that great. It's kind of the same thing with when we go to a training. We've decided we wanna make a cake, we have the ingredients, but now we need the recipe, which is your implementation plan. All right, so the purpose of this exercise is to outline specific commitments based on what you learned today about de-escalating concerning behavior, and to identify opportunities to put these learnings into practice when you facilitate it back at your club or youth center. You want to find the implementation plan worksheet in your participant guide, or you can use whatever you've been using to take notes. I want you to list a minimum of one idea per central area that you are committed to doing to put what you have learned into practice. I want you to think about commitments specific to your role and work at the club. For example, how might you put these ideas into practice while working in the games room, while serving snack, while facilitating physical activities, or while supporting youth in the computer lab? You have 5 minutes to complete your worksheets or write down your notes. After the 5 minutes is complete, I will be asking for 1 or 2 participants to share in the comments or by unmuting themselves. And 5 minutes has started. That should be 5 minutes. For those, I did see in the chat, some of you are asking about the participant guide. I added it to the chat in case you didn't already have it. We are on page 15. And, oh no, we're on page 16, sorry. Page 16, which is the implementation plan worksheet. One more song. Yeah, that'd be good, Rachel. We'll give you guys just a few more minutes since some of you did not have the participant guide. You're going to all right. If you have your camera on and I can see you, or if you want to drop it in the chat and you are ready to share, or if you need more time, I can give you more time. Or if you are like, I'm completely lost, Paula, I don't even know what you're talking about. Let me know that too. Okay. All right. So just as a recap, let's see. Can't see. All right, so the implementation plan worksheet, central idea number 1 is youth behavior communicates their social emotional needs. What is one idea that you're committed to doing to de-escalate that challenging behavior? Feel free to unmute yourself or you can type it in the chat. Okay, we have, I will first see and hear and value the youth and be objective and encouraging. Listen with purpose and understanding. I will help encourage and teach how to better handle a situation and give tools to cope with dealing with their emotions. All right, give me just a second. Rachel, do you have the participant guide that you can add in there?
Yeah, I'll drop it in again.
Perfect, thank you. All right, that was great. Thank you, Randolph, for participating there. So staff practice, central idea number 2, skills that support de-escalating behavior. What is one idea that you're committed to doing to de-escalate challenging behavior? And this is a skill. Participant guide is back in the chat. Okay, and then the third are, perfect. Thank you, Colton. Staying calm and keeping a calm tone. Gwen, pay attention to your body language. Very good. And then the last central idea that we covered today were the steps for de-escalating concerning behavior. Approaching calmly, describe what you see, read the situation, listen for and acknowledge feelings, give concrete choices, allow time, and offer support. What is an idea that you personally are committed to doing to using these steps to de-escalate challenging behavior? We have be objective. Luis also said the same thing, being objective. While you guys are dropping in the chat, me personally, when I took this class, the thing that I recognized very quickly that I was doing not correctly was when a kid gets in trouble, especially when it's, you know, let's take my child that slapped another kid. Before I took this class, my immediate response would have been, oh, you hit someone, you're in trouble. Here come the consequences. When really that's not how we should handle it. We need to de-escalate that kid, basically diffuse the bomb. Like you're now like the bomb squad. We diffuse the kid, and then after we have diffused them, then they're a whole lot more open and receptive to any consequences that they may have. Again, another person, it's just happened last week, last Friday. I had 3 boys that were playing a flag football game in our gym. And one of the kids was already having a bad day when he got to the club, and I recognized that, but he missed the ball. They, as the football people would say, juked him. And it made him mad. And so watching our video replay, because the 3 kids, none of them would talk. They were all just very, very, very escalated. And so we separated them all, watched the video to see what happened. He missed the ball. They juked him. He got mad. He proceeded to start getting physical. It was just kind of, pushing up on the kids, which is inappropriate for non-touch football. And it just continued to escalate. And so after seeing that video, they also had a chance to calm down, to sort of start to bring their emotional boil down. And I was able to talk to each kid and ask them, what happened? And then I got them together when they were completely like, red faces all gone, no more puffed up bodies. And I was able to talk to them and explain to them, what they should have done, which would have been to have told the staff, or I was like, just quit playing. If you're having a bad day, you're not winning. Okay, well, not winning, but you're not able to play well, then separate yourself. I was like, move and do a different activity. Ask if you can go to another room. I said, there are things, these were older kids, they're like 9 or 10. I said, there's things that you personally could have done to de-escalate this situation. And by that point, they were able to understand. I let them know after we had talked that if I ever caught them, fighting again, then in that instance, they would be suspended. And I said, do you understand why? I was like, we don't tolerate, being mean, being bullies. I said, everybody has a bad day, but there's tons of different ways that you can outlet that frustration in that bad day. And so they were all understanding. They apologized to each other. They shook hands, and, we're all happy. And I didn't even have to break out my corny jokes. So going to our last section, we have our reflection and closing. I want you to remember the learning objectives that we had by completing the session. 1, you would be able to describe behavior as an expression of a social and emotional need. Identify and apply the 6 steps to de-escalating behavior, and develop an implementation plan for the steps in de-escalating concerning behavior. If you will write down, whether you're writing it in your participant guide, on your note paper, in the note section of your phone, wherever you're writing at today, I'd like for you to write down, today I learned just one thing. What did you learn? Second thing I want you to write is, the skills I learned today will help me de-escalate concerning behavior by. And then the last thing I want you to write out is, I will support other staff at my club incorporate these skills in their programs by. Right, today I learned, the skills I learned today will help me de-escalate concerning behavior by, and then I will support other staff at my club with these skills in their programs by doing what? And then anyone that would like to share, feel free to drop that into the chat, or if you're feeling brave at this point in our training, unmute yourself and let me hear your voice.
Remember, this is just your reflection, what you learned today. Looks like a big room. All right. Anybody want to share something that they learned today? More ways to de-escalate. Can you be a little more specific? Like what's one, maybe your favorite way or a way that you hadn't ever thought about before? Colton, same. That was one of the things that I think one of my hugest takeaways the first time I did this, I took this class. Keep my calm before getting angry and issuing consequences, definitely. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, yes. Be patient and understanding to de-escalate a situation, yes. Another thing that you guys can add to your toolbox, bonus, it also makes for a great craft, you know, buy one, get one free kind of thing, is to make mindfulness jars or glitter jars. They're super simple. You can use water bottles or mason jars or old pasta jars. Doesn't have to be anything super fancy. Literally, you need glue, water, and glitter. Different colored glitter, preferably, but if you're like, I only have one color glitter, that's fine. I actually have a video on our YouTube channel, or you can always Google a glitter jar, and you add a little water and the glitter, and when you shake it up, the glitter, you watch it like swirl around and settle, and as it settles, it helps to settle your mind. If you have problems with staying focused and being attentive, it's also a great way to reset as an adult. It's a super easy craft. The kids really love it. And then it also works as a way to teach them mindfulness. It's also something that you can keep in whatever area you use to talk to kids or help to de-escalate them. And they're called, again, glitter jars, meditation jars. It's a way to talk about emotions with your kids. You know, we all feel happy sometimes. Sometimes we feel kind of mad. Using 2 different colored glitters, you can say, you know, this color represents maybe when we're mad, and this is when we're happy. And as you see it all swirling around, it eventually will calm back down and come back to a peaceful state. And so let them know that the jar simulates their body. And it's a great, like I said, it's a super great craft and super great way to help them reel in their emotions. It is called a glitter jar, or a, you might see mindfulness jar if you're looking on Google or YouTube. So we also have, oh, what did the ranch say to the ketchup? Oh, somebody's giving me a joke. Yes. What did the ranch say to the ketchup? BGC of Rusk County, I don't know. What did the ranch say to the oh, I'm dressing. That's funny. What did I'll have to remember that one. That might be my joke for the day. Taking a walk with the child is a cool way of calming anyone down. We'll use that for sure. We have, today I learned more about this profession in the minds of children. I learned how to help them feel comfortable in the face of adversity, calming areas, chill zones. Plus, I like the bring food that begins with the letter of their first name for a picnic. Really cool idea. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, that was a good joke. Awesome. All right. So as we come to the very close, I can't leave you without one last corny joke. What do you call a boomerang that won't come back? Ooh, Reyes, an impasta. If you're not looking at the chat, what do you call a fake noodle? Impasta. Final answer would be that one. What do you call a boomerang? Yes, Colton, a stick. What do you call a boomerang that won't come back? A stick. All right, so there's tons of other additional resources in your participant guide. You'll
They're listed out on pages 18 and 19. Some of them are program basics, the blueprint. It is the definitive guide to a program planning and delivery in Boys and Girls Club and BGCA affiliated youth centers. It also reviews club history, culture, and youth development fundamentals. The club experience blog, it has tons of activity, learning opportunities, and practical wisdom from club professionals. There's new posts every week, and they're tagged to relevant components in our NYOI Club Experience Indicator, which is to help you implement a high quality club experience. Spillett Leadership University, there's a new foundational level learning pathway for YDPs, youth development professionals, available on Spillett. It is a series of 8 self-led distance learning trainings that builds upon the concepts in the program basics blueprint. There's also safety resources offered through Presidium and Ethics Points. All right, so once you complete your participant evaluations, you will receive 0.2 Academy Learning credits for completing this session, and you'll be receiving an Academy Learning certificate. Let me check the chat real quick. Roni, I think it's Roni. The ranch said to the ketchup, "I'm dressing." And then, what do you call a nosy pepper? Jalapeno business. That's funny. I've heard that one too. So I want to thank you guys so much for your participation today. If you have any further questions or comments, or if there's anything else that I can provide you with while we're here, then let me know. Otherwise, you are released for, I believe, your break before your next session. So I'll be here for just a little bit for anyone that wants to chat. I love all the jokes. A milkshake. That's my answer. What do you call a cow in a tornado? A milkshake? Maybe?
I wanted to know, where do I go so I can get credit for this conference? I didn't receive anything from y'all.
Yep, at the end of the conference, everyone's gonna get a post-conference email that will have the participant guides attached to them, along with the link to the recording of today's sessions, or all the sessions, and certificates for each of the individual sessions that you participate in. So that'll come after, that'll come after the conference.
Appreciate it, thanks.
No problem. Okay, well, before everybody runs off, I know everyone's putting in their jokes, so we can read some more of those in a little bit. Before everybody goes on break, we just want to thank Paula. So some snaps from Miss Paula. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I love the corny jokes, and probably as much as I love the techniques that you discussed. It's really important by us as staff, and so thank you for bringing that to light. And then personally, Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie. And I think we all have beast moments in our lives. And I'm definitely going to use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, because I thought that was super helpful. So again, everyone's going to get a post-conference email with the participant guides for not just Paula's session, but all the sessions that will be participating today, along with the link to the recording and your certificates. We are going to take a short break, so feel free to get up, stretch, walk around, and be back promptly by 11 a.m. when we will get started with the building blocks of programming.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you guys so much.